Ignite Your Purpose, episode 153 tonight, 153. Just about got my marbles together. I've been up since 5 a.m. It's now almost midnight, and it's been a good day, fulfilling, lots of interesting things going on. But we are Ignite Your Purpose. We're here to share a few ideas. We talk longevity through a healthy lifestyle, a mix of the mental, physical, spiritual knowledge, mind, body, soul, trifecta, negative, positive, me and him, Max and JB. And today we have got a subject. We've, for some reason, we've got all of these millions of things going on in the globe, but we failed to come up with a subject. So Max has been watching podcasts galore today. He's obviously got nothing to do, but he's been talking about we're happy being 60 or 70% or 80% fulfilled. We're happy being average. We all wasted time of the hours and hours and hours and hours of time we watch football or baseball or basketball. We talk about moderation, but we have a Coke today and we have a Coke tomorrow and we have a Coke day after that. And that's a week, and then we have one every day, so that's 365, but that's for 10 years, and this aggregation of moderation's okay. So what is moderation? And he mentioned a whole load of other shit, so I'm going to let Max just pick one highlight out of that show reel, and we'll try and pull the show together. So Mossamo, what say you?
I was trying to be a gentleman. I didn't want to rattle John's brain because he's been up so long. So I was trying to keep it like a light topic. So where I think I'll go with that, and I wasn't watching, I was listening to people because I'm a multitasker. I don't want you to think I just live the life of Larry. I have women fanning me and feeding me grapes while I watch podcasts. But I do want to talk about this precognitive training. All those topics John just talked about in class last night. A very cool, I would say, meme, a scenario that was played out in our brain was that of an elephant. And if anybody's seen a lot of the people in class who have been to India, right, other parts of the world, we're talking about how these elephants are tied on one of their hoofs, right, or whatever you call them, with a thin string to something when they're little babies, and they're allotted 5 to 10 feet so they can walk around that little post, right? And every year they grow. They shorten it, and they do something with the gauge of the wire or the string. Lo and behold, by the time they're full grown, and we're using the elephant as the meme, but it's truly us, just so you catch how you put it down here, right? By the time the elephant's full grown, you can just have them tied with basically a string to this post, and they don't know that they're strong enough to just rip it apart and leave. Wow. They think their world is that 3 feet or 5 feet or whatever they've been given around that post. That's all they know, right? That's all they know. They walk around sad as hell, but let's use that for what it is. We are absolutely, if you want to dig deep, John, we are all of the same. We've been programmed, we've been trained, we've been sold this reality, this story, whatever it is, and it is in a way very true. We watch on TV people who are living to their full potential. We're watching people be great while we sometimes are just mediocre. That's one of the reasons, with my other half, I said we got to, back in the day, I said we got to extend cable. We got to stop this bullshit, putting the news on in the morning and being fed and watching this show just to waste time because you're not willing to look inside, to work on yourself, to be great. It's a finite amount of time we have here. And one of those things I picked up on that podcast, John, was they mentioned time being our enemy. And I thought that was beautiful, with the precognitive training all the way to the other extreme of time is your enemy, man. Like, we only have, let's say you're 30 years old right now and we're guaranteed to live till 70. That means we only have 40 more summers. Let that sink in. That is frigging absolutely crazy when you start narrowing it down like that, John. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Give me your feedback. Give me your thought process. John's been through a rough day, so some of this is resonating with his day. Give it back to us, John. What can we leave?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a rough day, but it was a long day, stimulating, rewarding. and educational as always. A couple of things you were talking about how many summers do we have left, and I'm going to flip it on its head a little bit now. Let's just say your parents are 70 years old. Now in America, and I think basically in a lot of the Western hemisphere, the Western countries, we're all going to live to about the same age, which is 78, 77, 79, maybe 82. But let's say your parents are 70 and they live to their 78, and you visit them once a year. You have a week once a year where you go see your parents and you drive there, and then your first day you're asleep, and then you have 4 or 5 days arguing, and then you have one nice day, and then you drive back again. You're going to get to do that 8 more times, and then they are gone. And it's about just maybe thinking about the perspective there when we kind of justify why we don't go and see them, or why we don't call them up once a week, or why we don't just pick up a phone randomly or send them a bunch of flowers, or just say, hey dad, hey mum, how you doing guys, love you. Because if you only see them once a year and they're only going to be around for 8 more years, the opportunities to do that are quite thin. So that's one thing that just popped in. You mentioned about the amount of time and hours that we spend watching football or these sporting occasions. That's time we cannot get back. And I was relating that to, do you remember back in the day, we used to go in these big coliseums with swords and jousting spikes and freaking lions and dragons and wizards and things, and we used to kind of slaughter each other for people's entertainment. Well, I think maybe in some ways that's an evolution of sport. Or up in the Scottish Highlands where you've got these two clans across the field and they all kind of tear into each other, rip each other apart. Now we can't do that anymore, so we get our kind of living out our tribalism and our being in the clan and being at one with all of our brothers, and we kind of live that through these football shirts or these jerseys that we wear. I'm not really sure I've got a huge amount to say about it. It's just an observation or a reflection of how I view that, and maybe what is it we're missing out on in life that creates the need to do that? Is it a lack of connection with people as a whole? Is it safety in numbers? Is just a few things I'm throwing up in the air? But don't know. What do you think, buddy?
You know, I definitely think there's also a point where, you know, you need to get out of reality. So to watch a movie once in a while,
Yep.
you know, or to watch, you know, to watch football or whatever you do it, that's fine. But it's like you said, John, the point where you're, you know, watching the pre-show, the post-show, they talk about the show, then you're watching the highlights of the game you just watched. At some point, got to look inside and say, well, yeah, why am I watching others be great, and I'm just spectating?
Yeah.
If you're cool with that in your life, there's no judgment here. I'm just saying we are not meant to just. I mean, we have full potentials, and I don't think any of us are living up to it, right?
And I suppose that. Sorry, go on. I cut you up there. I cut you up.
That's good. Go.
And I suppose there's an element of screaming and celebrating an incredible piece of skill on the pitch, or this amazing goal is one thing, but then where does screaming with such fierce anger at the opposition's fans, where does that come? You know, we're here watching a game of football, so what have the fans got? You,
yeah.
And you know, we've seen the football hooliganism, and I'm not going to pull that into it, but we're here to watch the game.
Yeah, we're here to be entertained, right? Yeah, no, that's a whole another can of worms where you're getting.
So this is what happens when we don't pick a subject; we're just completely random. So,
well, it still ties in. It's just that's a whole other can of worms. Why you do? Again, what are you missing or lacking where there's things going on and you want to now fight? You want to now look at the other team, and you know that's a whole deep subject in itself. But yeah, basically, the precognitive training that we've all undergone in the first 6-7 years of our life, through the first 6-7 years of our life, have gotten us here. And these are the questions we're asking. Why don't we want to live up to our potential? Why are
happy
98% of us, why are 98% of us okay with mediocre? Just a thought.
Yeah. And I think we should maybe leave that with people, and we'll pick that up this week, because tomorrow I get on the plane, I fly to the UK, and then Saturday morning I will be heading my way to Max's part of the world, and we will be deep into these subjects for a whole 7 or 8 days, I think. So yeah,
It'll be a whirlwind.
Been on the show. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Sorry about these kind of red eyes. It's been a long day, and I'm ready for my bed. I've got an early start tomorrow again, but we love doing it. We love it each and every day. So
the hustle's real, John. The hustle's real. We appreciate your hustle. We appreciate your grind. Everybody, thank you as always. And we're going to talk to you tomorrow. We appreciate the podcast listens. We appreciate the views, the likes, the shares. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.